end of the session. Can you hear me? Hello, how are you doing? Thank you for taking the time to be here. I'm Felicitas Keki. I graduated from UCA. Pablo Angeletti is the speaker. He got his degree from University of La Plata. He's been working for 15 years in crop protection and UPL as the product manager of herbicides and fungicides. Can you hear me? Okay, now it's working. Good morning. Thank you for staying because I know 12:15, you're probably hungry, but let me share with you what we are doing, what UPL is doing. We are going to talk about solutions beyond the limits, to have a different approach, considering all the factors that generate yield loss, weeds, pests, pathogens, but also to think a little bit about abiotic symptoms suffered by crops and the impact and what we can do in agricultural production. For me, giving this presentation is a huge challenge. I joined the company 1 year ago, and I was thinking about the range of products that UPL has to offer today for the different crops. When I was preparing the PPT, the first thing I did was to open the WhatsApp as if I were to find the solution there, and I found an icon, AI method. We can start asking questions to our AI in WhatsApp. So that was the trigger to see, for example, why crops lose yield. I've been in the field for 15 years. Probably the answer was weeds, pathogens, and then the pests. And automatically, I was surprised because I asked the question to Meta AI. And there are many other factors, for example, thermal stress, hydric stress, or the salinity of the soil that have a significant impact on the crop. And we generally don't pay attention to these factors. And if we go beyond, I started to think about the season, a season that was very hard for corn. So I asked AI to tell me to draw a chart. And all of a sudden, I got this chart. Reality goes beyond the limits. So from our mobile phones today, we can get answers to all our concerns. And basically, I keep on asking questions and started asking about the impact of stress on crops. And then I got these papers. Julia Bray is a researcher at the University of California. She's an expert in genetics. So then we see the biotic losses. As agricultural scientists, we know they can reach up to 11%, but abiotic stress can reach 65%, and that is a high percentage. And if we break down this by crop, well, all crops are impacted to a certain extent. Corn, wheat, soybean, all are present in Argentina. So then I got into the presentation. And I am going to talk about both biotic and abiotic stress. We see pathogens, weeds, and insects in this picture, right? First, let's talk about pathogens. So you see the timeline here, and you will see the timeline from 2007 to 2021. Pathogen resistance, yellow, orange, rust, and all the others that are here, right? Poor practices in the simplification of pathogen treatment results in resistance, the same as in weeds. And here is what we see, a simulation of the rate of resistant pathogens appearance. And when are we going to intervene? Of course, we are still on time to start making different decisions so as to stop this problem. These are maps of Argentina for the past 2 years, how water was used in soils. From a climate point of view, in the past 2 years, we had a break, but it's clear that we need to work in a different manner. So from UPL, we launched a product 2 years ago. It's a triple mixture that has a multi-site component. Extensive crops do not use multi-site, perhaps in potato and grape, but in Brazil, Paraguay, Bolivia, and Europe have these multi-site as a multi-resistant tool. So we use this triple mixture to mitigate the resistance. And we have 3 sites of action: mancozeb, azoxystrobin, and proteoconazole. The mancozeb has a lot of impact on spots and ramularia, and it has a good effective rate. And that's why we put together this mixture. It's a different fungicide. It's a solid condition, and the control spectrum is very broad for what farmers need today, for barley, soybean, and the mancozeb concentration is 52.5% high. We need a high concentration to protect the crop and not to just have traces of multi-site pathogens. We need to work on 8 sites of the fungus cell, and we will use azoxy and proteoconazole in other sites. We can repeat application of the product because as it is multi-site, it performs well. Then weeds. We all know about weeds and the problem that they create. This is some global information. This is from Weed Science, weed resistance all over the world. Until 2020, we have 500 cases that are officially reported for resistance. When we see action site, well, we all know this, and they are showing an increasing trend. And what I would like to underscore is that today we have weeds with accumulation in the same population, up to 7 sites of action. This is from Australia. 7 stacking or stacks, right? So it's very difficult to fight these type of weeds. By species, we see Lolio region, 12 resistant records, and then the whole family: Amaranthus, Euleucine, Avena fatua, for example, Lolium, Multiflorum. So this is the landscape, the global landscape, but it's also present in Argentina. So Argentina is facing this problem also. And this is the range of products that we have at UPL, 12 tools for the farmers. For the farmers to know that the solutions are with UPL. And this year we are launching 2 new tools into the market. Winher, as you will see, which is the first launch that I would like to talk about. Pyroxasulfone is a very appealing molecule for farmers today. And we launched this molecule. This is updated information. up to 2023 number of hectares due to weed resistance. And the winner gets to the target, controls 85% or even 90% of all the troublesome weeds present in Argentina today. It's a very interesting tool for farmers to have handy, and that's why UPL will launch this tool in August.
Es al 85% WG, ustedes saben que es un producto muy versátil que está en soja, en maíz, en trigo y en cebada registrado. Tiene un rango de dosis de 100 a 120 la dosis de invierno y 160 a 200 en verano. Un producto muy versátil en mezcla, ¿no? Sabemos que es un producto que controla muy bien gramíneas, pero aparte controla la latifoliada, entonces un producto que se puede mezclar muy bien con otros herbicidas y, como les decía, es clave para todo lo que vimos a nivel mundial de manejo de resistencia. En el mundo hasta ahora no hay resistencia a campo, por eso es que es un producto o una solución muy buena para tener en cuenta. Estas son algunas fotos para que vean la evolución de las cloracetamidas. Si bien piroxasulfón es primo hermano de las cloracetamidas, vemos que de por sí el producto anda muy bien solo, pero obviamente la recomendación siempre es con algo más. Nosotros tenemos Dynamic, que es amicarbazón, es una triazolinona, y vemos que cuando hacemos la combinación de los dos productos, el control es excelente. El otro lanzamiento que tenemos es Lifeland Zinc. Decimos que hay match porque hicimos una combinación de glufosinato con ese metolaclor para que tenga control superior a lo que conocemos hoy con glufosinato, y ahora vamos a ver algunos trabajos. Es un herbicida que va a trabajar post-emergente de la maleza, pero también preemergente porque tiene glufosinato, pero además tiene el S-metolaclor. Esa es la concentración. Tiene un amplio espectro de control. Sabemos que el glufosinato de por sí ya controla malezas gramíneas y de hoja ancha. Posicionamiento que tenemos como primer año es en maíz, pero estamos trabajando para tenerlo en otros cultivos. Y la dosis son de 3 a 4 litros porque adentro tenemos los 2 litros de glufosinato y el litro de ese metolaclor. Estos son algunos trabajos. Hoy les comenté que las principales problemáticas de malezas son las gramíneas. Yo creo que en el futuro las gramíneas van a ser las malezas más difíciles de controlar. Y una de las herramientas que quedan hoy en día para control post es el glufosinato. Pero nosotros a eso le queríamos levantar el poder de control post que tiene.
Wanted to improve the control achieved, and here you can see Lifeland Zinc 3 to 4 liters assessment at 14 and 28 days, how we were able to achieve some burning and how we prevented the regrowth of the grasses, and as compared to the same amount of lifeland, we get better control. So that's why we did this mix. So we have a product which is used post-emergent and it stays in the soil for resistant weeds. This was done with Elucine and Equinoclor. Why are we working with glufosinate? This is the first step, Lifeland Zinc, but we will be launching several mixes or mixtures with this input. And when we talk about resistance, we can see that the likelihood of resistance to glufosinate is 10H. It's very unlikely that we have resistance, but next to it we have 9G glyphosate. But a product which is not properly used may end up creating the scenario we face today. So that's why we are creating mixtures. These are the resistance. Resistance is found worldwide, and it's the same resistant weeds, the same ones we have already seen, Lolium, Amaranthus. So it's an excellent tool, but we have to use it carefully. Let's talk about insects or pests, and here we have the leaf hopper. Today, when we talk about insects, we think about leaf hoppers, which is the pest, the most important one nowadays. SENASA has already some products for farmers to use, but we know that grass leaf hopper control should be part of a plan. First of all, we should do away with some kinds of corn, and here we have celebrate. I have to select the right cultivars, and we have to plant at the right time, because we shouldn't use only chemicals but also proper management approach. And to control the vector, we have 3 products for seed treatment. Lancer is acephate 97%. It's a product which in Brazil and Paraguay, which are very used to dealing with this pest, is being widely used with very good control in Obispo Colombres. Last year we used this product, we tested it, and the control achieved was great. And obviously pyrethroids such as Bisec, Xiper, Bifex, to provide some persistence. These are all the tools we have, and we have already submitted all the paperwork to SENASA to get it authorized. And today I said we have losses due to weeds, pests, and pathogens, but there are also losses due to stress. And when we look at the crop that is not in the greenhouse but is impacted by many external conditions: CO2, soil, wind, thermal, moisture stress, thermal stress, moisture stress. That's why I'm going to describe some of the solutions we offer. Let's start with saline soils. A colleague at UPL says that there are almost 12 million hectares which have this problem. They have saline soils, and we have a product called Humiplex based on humic acids. It's like adding humus to a plant in the middle of a salt flat, and our slogan is extend your farm. So in those plots where farmers are not able to grow anything, they could plant a crop that would have some yield. These are some pictures. This is how Humiplex acts. Humiplex is the dark part, and this is where we have the weeds, and when we see other plants, we can see the differential growth we get with our product. We have corn, sunflower, corn. This is sunflower, and we can see distinct differences. Let's talk about quality. Implantation quality. We have biosime. In weed control, it's key for the crop to grow quickly and to cover the soil, because this is a competitive advantage of the crop. Where there is no crop, we have weeds growing, so we use plant extract. This is a precursor of the hormones involved in germination and rooting, primary rooting. As I told you earlier on, we have products to kill seed pathogens, but we want plants to grow as quickly and as evenly as possible. This is what happens when they plant soybean in a cold soil, how it grows in an uneven way, and the differences we achieve with biosime. This is the first one was corn, after that we had potato, this is cotton wool, this is wheat, the results we have achieved this year. Let's talk about stress. We talked about the soil, salinity issues, and now we have the plant, and we have to care for it, and we may have biotic stress, maybe because of some PPO product we're using to control amaranthus, or some frost, or very low temperature. Here we have Optimat. It's a product based on falcistein, and it also includes potassium. So when the crop suffers from acute stress, we want it to recover as quickly as possible, and to recover the growth rate as quickly as possible too. So here we suggest using 1 liter per hectare on the plants. And when I'm going to use a product that will produce phytotoxicity, I should add Optima to it. So if there will be some residues from another weed killer or element use, well, I may add Optimat to improve the scenario for the plants. Here, on one hand, we applied Flexafen, on the other hand, we had Fomesafen plus Optimat, and the growth is much better on the right. In the case of stress, thermal stress, when it's very cold in a cold soil, it's difficult for the plants to grow. Here we have Biotron, which includes falcisteine, fulvic acid, and micro and macronutrients. It's a shock of nutrients, so that when the crop is delayed and the growth rate is very low, we use this product and quickly the crops start growing faster. These are some pictures. This was corn, this is potato. And now I'm going to talk about the final product. Earlier on I talked about moisture stress, water stress. This is what we have when a crop suffers. First, it stops growing, so we add a product which keeps water. It's a byproduct of cornstarch. It stores after 40 times its volume in water, and there's no residues. It's an organic product because it's made of cornstarch, and the impact of short-term stresses because of a reduction in water availability, these products keeps the water in the root area, and the plants keep on growing. This has been authorized for potato, tomato, and peanuts. And we can see that when SIBA is used for potato crops, the crop keeps on growing, despite the fact that potato crops are irrigated on a regular basis. As I told you at the beginning, UPL works not only in what we see with weeds and pests, but also in many other areas, focusing on many problems faced by the crops. Here we have all the products we have for corn, over 15, the products we have for soybean, over 24, and that tackle all the different issues faced by soybean crops. And as we keep on learning from our customers and our distributors working on sustainability, we have set up a network to exchange information, learnings, and to develop sustainable agricultural practices. This network is called Bloom. It has, and many organizations are partaking in it to improve the sustainability of the system. This is all for the time being. Thank you very much, and I don't know if there are any questions. Felicitas.
Now you can see the QR code and you can write your questions. And if you write questions, I will see them in my mobile phone. So the QR is displayed now. It's on the screen. So in the meantime, I have a couple of questions. First, what is the role of ammonia glyphosate in the ELEST technology? Well, I've mentioned what we are doing with glyphosate. The molecule is a broad-spectrum molecule, and it's one of the few tools post-emergence for controlling different grasses, amaranthus, etc. With the introduction of the LIS technology, for example, Acolisna in post-emergency, or amaranthus was difficult post-emergence, and we have some PPO resistance, so it provides a solution. We have to take care of the technology because we have a resistance pyramid, and the resistance is low. So it's quite rare to be a weed resistance. That's why we have to mix it with 2,4-E and glyphosate. But I think it's an important tool for weed control in soybean. And there is another question, for example, ammonium glufosinate can be used in soybean HB4? Yes, there is no problem about that. It can be used. There is another question now for biosolutions. For saline soils, Emiplex, which is the dose and how and what is the type of action? For saline soil, the dose is between 30 to 40 kilos, and it is combined with, it blocks sodium, and the plant does not use sodium and can continue growing. That is the way of operation, or the method of action of the product. And we have more questions. The next question is Fonisofen and Optimum. Can we apply them together? Yes, ideally, if I know that I am going to use a product causing phytotoxicity, it's better to combine. If I introduce Optima, the response is going to be better. If we are talking about hormone drift, the sooner I see these, the faster the application to know, to see that the plant or the crop continues growing. Now, in line with these questions, I have a question. Adding biosolutions or biostimulants in combination with fungicides, is it a good combination? When we talk about diseases, we always work on the pathogen. As agricultural scientists, we always think in pathogens, right? Because when we talk about diseases, we talk of the triangle: pathogen, environment, and the susceptible cultivar. And the pathogen, which are the new molecules to control the resistant pathogens that we face. But then there is another side, the plant immune system. So we are starting to combine fungicides with Biotrone, and we see a better response. I think it is because the plant is better prepared in its immune system. It fights the pathogen, and we see that the performance is better in yields and incidence. And I think that that is the coming trend. Farmers are seeing that today. They ask about fungicides, but they also ask about biostimulants. And I think that that is the path, particularly when we talk about these resistances. We need to consider the immune system of the plant. And we still have more time for questions. Is there any product on the market for post-gale? Yes, all the ones that are not herbicide. For example, Biotrone, and when the crop is damaged as a result of the hail, the crop should quickly continue growing. That is to say, to show leaves, and Biotrone that has macronutrients, the plant continues developing. There are some crops after hails with a quick recovery. After 15 days, we can see that the crop is fully grown. And then, last question, going back to herbicides. Pyraxosulfone, is the solid formulation better than the liquid formulation? That is a very technical question, actually. And, well, what we see is that when we have solid formulations and want to use them in the soil as a residual product, solid formulations are more stable. The residues in solid formulation last 1 week more than liquid formulations. For contact or post-emergent products, liquids are okay, even better than solid formulations. But if we talk about residual performance, solid formulations are better. And that's why we prefer that type of formulation. One more question, because I think it's interesting. It's your question? No. Glufosinate, are there any differences regarding product efficiency if it is applied in winter or in summer? And how do we control weeds as a result of temperature impacts? I have 6 minutes left, so I can take advantage of these 6 minutes. Very briefly, glufosinate is a product that has been used for many years now, but it's not widely known. Only a few years ago, farmers started to use it as a tool, and it's quite weird as a product because when there is a lot of sun, it's great, but if it's cloudy, there is not good control, and the demand of the product is increasing. We know the paraquat restrictions all over the world, so the use is post-emerging. Last year, we started to perform different field trials and see the performance in combination with ammonium sulfonate, if it are applied day, at night, the size of the weed. The Enlist system takes 4D, Y, and we perform the trials on site. And based on all the studies, the product is highly dependent on light. We have to apply it from the morning to midday, because if I apply it late in the afternoon, there is no activation. So if I apply it on sunny days, it works very good. It needs ammonium sulfate for penetration and some oils due to the volatility. And if the temperatures are above 15 degrees Celsius, the plant moves the product in the leaves, and we see a better performed. And if I combine it with a hormone product, the control is fantastic. So, as we were talking about the soya leaf tool, and even for tolerant corns, now that we use Lifeline, I believe that the product is going to be very useful for weed control. So, very clear. Thank you. Excellent presentation. Thank you for your questions. And a round of applause.